I'm lying on a gurney in St. Jude's emergency department, plastic tubing down my throat, when I hear my mother say it. Her voice cuts through the antiseptic haze like a scalpel through scar tissue. "Stop being theatrical, Maya. Your sister would never do something like that." The dismissive tone lands like a physical blow, even through the fog of whatever's still coursing through my veins. Through slitted eyelids, I see my older sister Rachel perched in the corner of the trauma bay, arms crossed, that familiar smirk playing on her perfectly glossed lips. The same lips that poured me a glass of wine 6 hours ago at our monthly family dinner. The same lips that told the paramedics I'd probably just taken too many of my own prescription pills. I'm Maya Rodriguez, 24 years old, and I've spent my entire life being told I'm too sensitive, too intense, too much. That my reactions are performative, my memories exaggerated, my pain inconvenient. But this time I have proof growing in a lab vial downtown, one molecule at a time. The nightmare started at 6:47 p.m. on a Tuesday that felt like any other. Our family's traditional monthly dinner at my parents' Tudor revival in the suburbs. Mom's signature lasagna bubbling in the ceramic dish, the one with the microscopic chip in the rim that Rachel accidentally caused when we were kids, but I got blamed for. Dad's collection of terrible puns, each one more groan-worthy than the last. And Rachel, always Rachel, with her subtle jabs delivered through a smile sharp enough to draw blood. She's 26, 2 years older, and still finding herself, a euphemism my parents used to explain why she lives rent-free in their guest house while I pay market rate for a studio apartment near the biotech campus where I work. I've been promoted to lead researcher at Gentech Labs, working on a breakthrough treatment for autoimmune disorders. Rachel's been promoted to professional brunch enthusiast and part-time yoga instructor, though I've never seen her actually teach a class. Another 12-hour day at the lab? Rachel asks, her voice dripping with that fake concern that makes my skin crawl. She reaches for the wine decanter, a wedding gift to my parents that's somehow become Rachel's personal property, and pours me a generous glass of Cabernet. The liquid glugs out thick and dark, catching the candlelight like spilled blood. You should really get out more, Maya. Live a little. All that science can't be good for your soul. I take the glass, my fingers brushing hers. Her skin is ice cold. The first sip hits my tongue wrong, metallic, with a chemical bitterness that pulls in the back of my throat. I almost mention it, but Mom's already launched into her favorite topic, my biological clock. When are you going to settle down and give me grandchildren? You're not getting any younger, Mija. All those hormones in the lab are probably confusing your body. I ignore the casual sexism, the dig at my career, the way she manages to make my accomplishments sound like character flaws. I take another sip of wine, attributing the strange taste to the new organic brand Rachel's been pushing. 20 minutes later, the room begins to fracture at the edges. I don't feel right, I mumble, gripping the edge of the mahogany table. My fingers leave sweaty prints on the polished wood. The chandelier overhead blurs into a constellation of impossible stars. My parents exchange that look. The one they've been sharing since Rachel and I were children. The one that says, there goes Maya again, making everything about herself. Maybe if you didn't work so much, Dad sighs, running a hand through his graying hair, you could handle a glass of wine like a normal person. Rachel leans forward, her face a mask of practiced concern. Should I call an ambulance, or is this another one of your episodes? The word episodes hangs in the air like a curse. She's weaponized my anxiety diagnosis, turning a manageable condition into a family joke. My throat constricts. The words help me die on my tongue as my muscles begin to spasm. I hit the floor hard, my head cracking against the travertine tile. My body convulses, heels drumming a staccato rhythm against the stone. Through the tunnel of my collapsing vision, I see Rachel's face hover above me, her expression not of horror but of satisfaction. "See," she says, her voice the last thing I hear before darkness swallows me whole. Always has to be the center of attention. I wake to the rhythmic beep of a heart monitor, the chemical smell of antiseptic, and the distinctive sensation of a tube being pulled from my throat. My parents hover nearby, their faces a grotesque mask of annoyance and embarrassment. Mom's holding my purse like it's evidence of my crimes. The doctors say it was probably just exhaustion, she explains, patting my hand with the condescension of someone addressing a toddler. You always push yourself too hard at that lab. All those late nights with those chemicals. I try to speak, but my voice is shredded. A nurse, her name tag reads Carmen, RN, appears at my side with a cup of ice chips. As she adjusts my fore, I grab her wrist with what little strength I have left. Please, I rasp, my throat burning. I need a full toxicology screen. I know something was in my drink. Carmen's eyes flicker to my parents, then back to me. She gives an almost imperceptible nod. Dr. Hassan already ordered one, honey. Standard protocol for unexplained loss of consciousness. Relief floods through me, cool and sweet. Finally, there will be proof. Something tangible. Something that can't be dismissed as my theatrics. This is ridiculous, Mom declares, shouldering her Louis Vuitton bag. We're not going to sit here and indulge these paranoid fantasies. Dad places a hand on her arm. Come on, let's get some coffee while your sister calms down. As they leave, Rachel lingers in the doorway. The concerned sister act drops like a stage curtain, replaced by the cold, sharp smile I've known since childhood. She takes a step closer, her voice dropping to a whisper that makes my blood run cold. You know what your problem is, Maya? She straightens the blanket over my legs, her touch gentle and poisonous. You never learn to stay in your lane. Always trying to outshine me with your fancy job and your perfect little life. Mom and Dad are so proud of their scientist daughter, aren't they? But they don't see how you look down on all of us. She leans closer, her perfume, something expensive and cloying, making my stomach heave. Sometimes people need a little reminder of their place. A little chemical nudge to stop them from flying too close to the sun. The blood test will show what you did, I manage to whisper, each word a shard of glass in my throat. Rachel laughs, a sound like ice cracking underfoot. Please. It'll be your word against mine. Who do you think they'll believe? The successful daughter with the history of episodes, or the one who's been taking care of them? They never chose you before. What makes you think they'll start now? As she saunters out, her words echo in the sterile room. She's right. They never have chosen me. But this time, the molecules in my bloodstream don't care about family dynamics or golden child status. This time, science is on my side. I reach for my phone, hands trembling from the lingering sedatives, and call the one person who has never doubted me. Detective Sarah Chen. We met in college when she was a uniformed officer responding to a noise complaint at my dorm. She's been my emergency contact ever since. I need you, I say when she answers on the first ring. Her voice is sharp with sleep, it's 2 a.m., but she doesn't hesitate. Text me the hospital. I'm already in my car. Get here before the test results come back, I plead. And Sarah? Bring backup. I lay back against the stiff hospital pillows, the fluorescent lights above creating halos of pain behind my eyes. My body feels like it's been through a centrifuge, but my mind is crystalline. Rachel has finally gone too far. And this time, I have proof that doesn't depend on anyone's belief. Sarah arrives before my family returns, her detective's badge glinting under the harsh corridor lights. She takes one look at my pale face, reflected in the dark window of my hospital room, and her jaw tightens. She pulls out a leather-bound notebook, the same one she's carried since her rookie days. Tell me everything. Don't leave out a single detail. I start with the wine. The metallic taste. The way Rachel watched me drink it, her eyes tracking my throat as I swallowed. I tell her about the years of similar incidents, the accidental food poisoning at Thanksgiving that only affected me, the allergy medication that mysteriously found its way into my morning coffee before my cats, the essential oils she diffused in our shared bathroom that triggered my asthma but somehow never bothered hers. As I speak, Sarah's expression grows darker. She's pulling up records on her phone, cross-referencing dates. I'm getting security footage from your parents' neighborhood, she says. And I'm having a word with Dr. Hassan about expediting those results. Just then, my parents and Rachel return. Mom's face sours at the sight of Sarah's uniform. Her lips purse into a line so thin they disappear. What's this now? Dad demands, his voice taking on that authoritative tone he uses when he wants to shut down a conversation. Amanda, you called the police? This is a family matter. Detective Chen, Sarah introduces herself formally, stepping between me and my parents. I'm here investigating a potential case of intentional poisoning. Rachel's smirk falters for a split second before she bursts into tears. The transformation is instantaneous and terrifying in its perfection. She collapses against Mom's shoulder, her shoulders heaving with sobs that sound rehearsed. "How could you do this to me?" she wails, her voice muffled against Mom's cardigan. "Your own sister. I was just trying to help you relax, and now you're trying to ruin my life." Sarah ignores the performance. "Mrs. Rodriguez," she addresses my mother, her voice professionally detached. "Were you aware that your daughter Rachel has had 3 restraining orders filed against her by former roommates in the past 2 years? The room goes silent. Mom's face strains of color. Dad's hand freezes halfway to his pocket. That's impossible," Mom stammers. "Rachel would have told us." "All filed in the last 24 months, Sarah continues, reading from her phone. "All citing similar incidents of food tampering, medication swapping, and suspicious accidents. One victim required her stomach pumped. Another had a fractured wrist from falling downstairs after her drink was spiked at a house party. Those girls were jealous," Rachel protests, but her voice has lost its confident edge. "They were trying to ruin my reputation. Just like Maya's trying to do now." "Interesting pattern," Sarah says coolly. 3 unrelated women, all jealous of you, all claiming you poisoned them?" Before anyone can respond, Dr. Hassan enters holding a manila folder. His expression is grim, the kind doctors reserve for delivering terminal diagnoses. He doesn't look at my parents. He looks at me, and his eyes are kind. "I have the preliminary toxicology results," he announces. "We found significant levels of benzodiazepines in Miss Rodriguez's system, specifically a fast-acting sedative called midazolam. The concentration was 0.4 milligrams per liter. Combined with alcohol, it could have caused respiratory depression. This wasn't exhaustion. This was intentional drugging." Mom sinks into a chair, her designer purse slipping from her shoulder to the floor. Dad stands frozen, his face gray. That's impossible," Rachel stammers. "Maya probably took something herself. She works in a lab. She has access to drugs." "Actually," Sarah interrupts, "the specific drug found isn't one used in Maya's research facility. They work with autoimmune compounds, not sedatives." However, she pulls a prescription bottle from an evidence bag. "This is prescribed to you, Rachel, for anxiety attacks. Same drug, same dosage. The pharmacy records show you refilled it 3 days ago." Rachel's face goes white. She opens her mouth, but no sound comes out. "I also have security footage from your parents' front door," Sarah continues. "It shows you making 3 trips to your car during dinner. Would you like to explain what you were retrieving, or should I pull the footage from the dashboard camera you didn't know your father had installed?" Rachel's silence is deafening. For the first time in our lives, our parents are seeing her true face. The mask has cracked, and underneath is something ugly and desperate. "I want a lawyer," Rachel snaps, her voice sharp and ugly. "I'm not saying another word." "Olivia, Rachel, honey," Mom's voice is barely a whisper. "Tell me you didn't. Tell me this is all a misunderstanding." But Rachel's silence speaks volumes. The weight of it presses down on all of us, crushing years of denials and excuses. Dr. Hassan clears his throat. "Mrs. Rodriguez, your daughter Maya could have died. The amount of sedatives in her system, combined with the alcohol, could have stopped her heart. This wasn't a prank or a cry for attention. It was attempted murder." Dad stumbles backward, catching himself against the wall. He looks like he's aged 10 years in 10 minutes. "All those times," he mutters, his voice cracking. "All those accidents Maya told us about. The food poisoning at Thanksgiving. The medication mix-up before her cats. Were they really accidents?" "Mr. Rodriguez," Sarah says gently, "we have statements from 12 different people. Former roommates, an ex-boyfriend, a colleague from Rachel's brief stint at a wellness center. All describing the same pattern. 2 hospital security officers arrive at the door. Sarah nods at them. "Rachel Rodriguez, you're under arrest for attempted assault with a deadly weapon. The wine glass has been collected as evidence. You have the right to remain silent." She reads the Miranda rights while one officer secures Rachel's wrists in handcuffs. The sound of the metal clicking shut is the most satisfying thing I've ever heard. As they lead her away, Rachel turns to our parents one last time, her eyes wild and desperate. I did it for you. She was always making you look bad with her perfect job and her perfect life. You never loved me as much as her. The officers guide her out. The door clicks shut. And then there's just silence, heavy and suffocating. Mom sinks to the floor, her designer dress pooling around her. Dad stares at the space where Rachel was, his face a mask of shock and grief. Amanda, Maya, Mom chokes out, reaching for my hand. We didn't know. We didn't want to see. I pull my hand away. The 4-line pulls taut. You didn't want to know. I correct her, my voice stronger now. There's a difference. Dr. Hassan clears his throat. You need rest. All of you. Detective Chen, can I speak with you outside? Sarah squeezes my shoulder. I'll be back. Try to sleep. You're safe now. But sleep doesn't come. I lay in the hospital bed, listening to the symphony of monitors and distant code blues, thinking about the years I spent questioning my own reality. The times I apologized for things that weren't my fault. The way I learned to doubt my own memories, my own instincts. My phone buzzes. A text from Sarah. Restraining order filed. She's being held without bail. You did good. I save the message. Proof that someone believes me. Proof that I'm not crazy. 3 months later, I'm sitting in the courthouse waiting room, my hands clasped so tightly my knuckles are white. The preliminary hearing for Rachel's case is today, and despite everything, my heart is racing. You don't have to stay for the whole thing, Sarah says, sitting beside me in her formal detective's uniform. Your testimony is on record. You can leave. I need to see it through, I say. I need to see her face when the evidence is presented. My parents enter the waiting room. They look diminished, smaller somehow. Mom has lost weight, her clothes hanging loosely on her frame. Dad's hair has gone completely white. They've been trying to reach out over the past months, calls, letters, flowers sent to my apartment. Each time, I've maintained my distance, not ready to forgive the years of willful blindness. Maya, Mom starts, taking a tentative step toward me. We've been seeing a family therapist. Dr. Chen. She's helped us understand that we failed you. Both of you, really. I look at her, really look at her, and see something I've never seen before. Genuine remorse. Not the performative kind Rachel perfected, but something raw and real. We enabled her, Dad adds, his voice rough with emotion. We made excuses because it was easier than facing the truth. And you paid the price for our weakness. Before I can respond, the bailiff calls us into the courtroom. The space smells of old wood and anxiety. I take a seat behind the prosecutor, my parents sitting several rows back. Sarah stays by my side. Rachel enters in a beige pantsuit that makes her look impossibly young. Her hair is pulled back in a severe bun, her face scrubbed of makeup. The confident smirk is gone, replaced by a tightness around her eyes that speaks of sleepless nights and mounting. The evidence is overwhelming. Sarah's team has done their job thoroughly. They present the toxicology report, the prescription records, the security footage showing Rachel crushing pills in the kitchen while Mom was setting the table. They bring forward witnesses, her former roommates, each with a story that mirrors mine. One shows photos of hives that covered her body after Rachel accidentally used peanut oil in a stir-fry despite knowing about her allergy. Another presents medical records from a broken wrist, sustained after her drink was spiked at a housewarming party. When it's my turn to testify, I speak clearly and calmly. I detail not just the poisoning, but the years of escalating incidents. The way Rachel would compliment my achievements through gritted teeth, then accidentally ruin my favorite dress. How she offered to help me study for my board exams, then mistakenly gave me her migraine medication instead of ibuprofen, leaving me so groggy I nearly missed the test. As I speak, I watch my parents' faces crumple with each detail they had dismissed or ignored. The time I came home from college with a black eye, claiming Rachel had elbowed me during a playful wrestling match. The way my laptop mysteriously stopped working the night before my thesis was due. The allergic reaction I had to the gluten-free cookies Rachel baked specially for me. The prosecutor's closing statement is damning. The defendant didn't just attempt to harm her sister. She systematically terrorized her while hiding behind a carefully constructed facade of innocence enabled by those who were supposed to protect both their children. The judge's decision is swift. Rachel will undergo psychiatric evaluation pending trial. No contact orders are issued for all previous victims, including me. Bail is denied given the severity of the charges and the pattern of behavior. As they lead her away, Rachel finally drops her act completely. She struggles against the bailiff's grip, her eyes locking on mine. "You think this changes anything?" she screams, her voice echoing off the marble walls. "You'll always be the one who tore this family apart." But her words don't hurt anymore. They're just the desperate cries of someone who finally lost control. Someone who mistook fear for respect and manipulation for love. Outside the courthouse, standing in the bright autumn sunlight that feels too warm for the season, my parents approach me again. Mom holds out a manila envelope. "We found this while packing up the guest house," she says quietly. "Rachel's journals. We haven't read them. We thought you should decide what to do with them." I take the envelope. It's heavy with the weight of secrets. "We're selling the house," Dad adds. "Too many memories. We're moving into a condo downtown. Closer to you, if you let us try to rebuild. We know we don't deserve a second chance, but we're hoping you might give us one anyway." I study their faces, the hope, the regret, the genuine desire to make amends. The same faces that once looked through me now see me, really see me. "I'm starting therapy," I tell them. "Every Tuesday at 2 p.m. If you're serious about rebuilding, you can meet me for coffee at the place across the street afterward." Small steps. No promises. The relief on their faces is almost painful to witness. It's not forgiveness, not yet. But it's a beginning. Sarah drives me home, both of us processing the day's events in comfortable silence. As we pull up to my apartment building, she turns to me. "You know what amazes me?" she says, her voice soft. "Through everything, you never lost your compassion. You wanted justice, not revenge. You could have destroyed her in that courtroom, but you just told the truth." I think about that as I enter my apartment, immediately greeted by Luna, my rescue cat. She's a scrappy tabby with a torn ear and a purr like a chainsaw. I adopted her a month ago from the shelter where Sarah volunteers. Luna had been abused by her previous owners, yet still found it in herself to trust again. Maybe we have that in common. That evening, I receive a text from Mom. "Found this while going through old photos. Thought you should have it." Attached is a picture of me at my college graduation, beaming in my cap and gown, a bouquet of roses clutched in my arms. I remember that day. How Rachel had shown up 2 hours late, then made the entire family leave early because she had a migraine. How Mom had cut my celebration dinner short to drive Rachel home. How I'd cried in my empty apartment that night, my achievement feeling like nothing. But looking at it now, I see something different. I see a young woman who achieved something remarkable despite everything. Who built a life she was proud of. Who survived and thrived. I save the photo and text back, "Coffee next Tuesday at 3. Don't be late." Sometimes healing comes not from forgetting the past, but from facing it head-on and choosing to move forward anyway. My family will never be what it once was, but maybe, just maybe, it can be something new. Something real. Something built on truth instead of convenient lies. And this time, I'll be strong enough to make sure the truth stays in the light. 6 months later, I'm standing in the doorway of my new office at Gentech Labs. After the trial, I was promoted to department head. My research on autoimmune treatments is being fast-tracked to clinical trials. On my desk sits a framed photo, me and Sarah at the courthouse steps, both of us exhausted but triumphant. Luna's curled up in her bed by the window, snoring softly. My phone buzzes. A text from Mom. "Therapy is at 2. Coffee at 3:15. We're learning to be punctual." I smile. It's a small thing, but it's real. The door opens. Dr. Hassan walks in, his white coat flapping. "Maya, we need to talk about the clinical trial data." "Of course." I gesture to a chair. "What's up?" He sits, his expression serious. "The FDA wants to expand the trial. They're impressed with your methodology. They specifically mentioned your attention to detail, your insistence on documenting everything. I think about the meticulous notes I kept during Rachel's campaign of terror. The calendar where I marked every suspicious incident. The medical records I saved, even when my parents told me I was being paranoid. Documentation saved my life, I say quietly. I learned to trust the evidence. Dr. Hassan nods, not fully understanding, but respecting the weight in my voice. Well, your evidence is going to save a lot of lives. Maybe even your mother's. I freeze. What? Your mother reached out to us. She's been diagnosed with lupus. She wants to be considered for the trial. The irony hits me like a wave. The woman who almost let me die is now asking me to save her life. But I think about the woman in therapy, the one learning to say, I was wrong, the one who brings Luna organic cat treats every Tuesday. Have her medical records sent over, I say. We'll review her case. Dr. Hassan leaves. I turn back to the window, watching the city spread out below. In the distance, I can see the courthouse dome, glinting in the sun. I can see the hospital where I almost died. I can see the coffee shop where I'll meet my parents in 3 hours. My phone buzzes again. Sarah, Rachel's evaluation came back. Antisocial personality disorder with narcissistic features. She's pleading guilty to avoid trial. 5 to 7 years. I close my eyes. Not satisfaction. Not happiness. Just the quiet relief of closure. Luna jumps onto my lap, her purr vibrating through my bones. I scratch behind her torn ear, the one that reminds me that scars don't have to define you. That trust can be rebuilt, one small act at a time. The intercom buzzes. Dr. Rodriguez, your 3 p.m. is here. Send them in. The door opens. My mother stands there, looking smaller than I remember, clutching a folder of medical records. Her eyes are clear, her hands steady. Thank you for seeing me, she says. I know I don't deserve it. I gesture to the chair. Let's talk about the trial. And Mom? Let's talk about the truth. All of it. She sits. The door closes. And for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, standing in the light of my own truth, unafraid and alone. The healing isn't linear. Some days I still wake up tasting bitter wine. Some days I see Rachel's face in every shadow. But I have Luna. I have Sarah. I have a career that matters. And I have parents who are learning to see me, really see me, for the first time. The blood test proved what my family refused to believe. But more importantly, it proved something to myself, that my instincts were never wrong. That my pain was never imaginary. That I was never too sensitive or too dramatic. I was just a girl who knew when something tasted like poison. And now I'm a woman who knows how to build an antidote. The lab results didn't just save my life. They gave me back my voice. And I'm never letting anyone silence it again.